The hardest part of making videos isn't the camera or the editing software. It's finding the actual time to get it all done. You can have a killer idea, but if you can't plan, write, shoot, edit, and distribute efficiently, that great concept never sees the light of day. Today, my buddy Craig and I are walking you through the exact AI tools that have legitimately shaved hours off our entire workflow. We are going to cover planning, scripting, the actual editing process, and even repurposing everything efficiently. And yes, we will naturally compare some tools you already know to this little gem we've been using called Vizard, which helps turn long videos into short, viral-ready clips and even schedules them for you. Let's kick things off with the planning and scripting phase, because if you nail this first part, everything else just gets significantly easier down the line. We both firmly preach that the topic, the big core idea, is easily the most important ingredient for making any successful video. Seriously, spend quality time focusing right here, and I promise you will save mountains of time later in the process. One tool I absolutely have to call out for deep research and source-based prompting is Notebook.LM. If you haven't played around with it yet, just think of it as a chat tool that you can actually train using your own personal documents and links. You can toss in Google Drive folders, PDFs, those old slide decks, random YouTube links or web pages, whatever you have. Then, it will expertly answer your questions using only those exact sources you provided. I personally used it heavily when I was comparing action cameras, specifically the GoPro versus the DJI models. It sped up my research phase so much that it felt almost unfair to the manual process. Normally, I'd be watching like 5 comparison videos, opening a mountain of spec sheets and scribbling messy notes everywhere I looked. With Notebook.LM, I simply pulled in the spec links, creator comparisons, and a store page or two. Then I just asked it very specific direct questions about the differences I needed to know. For example, I asked what the real battery life difference was between the two competing models. I also queried which camera was genuinely better suited for a brand new vlogger just starting out. Finally, I needed to know which one performed significantly better when recording in tricky, low-light situations. It quickly spat back a super organized outline based on all of those real-world sources I fed it. I then took that outline, double-checked everything, and stamped it with my own personal experience to make it authentic. Here is a really wild use case we tested, auditing an entire course that we already run on a specific subject. I took our entire course library, condensed all the knowledge into a 45-page PDF of notes, and trained Notebook.LM on just that document. Then, I asked the AI to summarize the whole thing and even try to turn it into an audio-style podcast format. It actually spit back a tight 7 to 8 minute audio summary featuring 2 AI voices, basically an AI-generated highlight reel of a giant document. That output is super cool for handing off to a new team member or just letting someone skim the core ideas without committing hours to the material. That said, this is absolutely not a replacement for human judgment, so you must always fact-check and inject your own unique voice. But it's an undeniable killer accelerator for both detailed research and complex idea distillation. Moving on, let's talk about the next powerhouse, ChatGPT, which is probably the most used tool in our entire toolbox right now. For general scripting, generating better headlines, brainstorming alternatives, and just tightening up language, it is my ultimate go-to option. I frequently use it specifically to craft high-performing hooks and to refine that crucial first 20 to 30 seconds of a video, which is everything for retention. It's also fantastic for creating title variations that genuinely lean into effective SEO practices for better discoverability. The absolute secret trick here is providing the right context to the model every single time you prompt it. You are going to get boring, generic stock answers if you just type a quick 2-line prompt and immediately hit enter. However, if you spend just a minute dictating a nuanced, detailed prompt, it will give you way better results. I mean, try telling it exactly who your ideal viewer is, what their specific pain points are, and what tone you want the script to take. Personally, I do a lot of voice dictation when I'm building these complex prompts because speaking 1,000 words is genuinely much easier than typing them all out. Also, make sure you let ChatGPT learn from your past successful conversations. Keep that convo history alive and flag the good stuff. Over time, it will start tailoring its suggestions specifically to match your unique content style. That compounding learning effect makes it feel like you are finally working with an assistant that actually understands you on a deeper level. We also utilize it to broaden our ideas whenever a script feels a little too niche or targeted at only one group. I'll dump the script into ChatGPT and ask, make this appeal to creators, small brands, and hobbyists. What pain points can we add? This helps us efficiently widen the net without ever losing sight of the core message we want to convey. Now let's pivot the conversation over to the editing bay, which is where precious time seems to disappear if you aren't extremely careful. If you shoot any kind of talking head videos, you already know the tedious drill. Multiple takes, filler words everywhere, and those awkward, weird pauses. This is where a tool like Gling.ai steps in as our absolute magic eraser for all that nonsense. You just drop in your finished script or your raw footage, and it will auto-trim all those bad takes and automatically remove all the long silences for you. Furthermore, it can strip out all those pesky filler words, so you end up with a solid, usable rough cut almost instantly. You can then export a clean MP4 or take the XML file right into Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve to do your final polish. For me, I use Gling on virtually every single talking head video I produce because it saves me hours of tedious work. For tackling longer form content like full talk shows and podcasts, there are tools like AutoPod that automate the process. AutoPod will automatically switch camera angles and assemble a sorted timeline based on speaker labels it recognizes in the audio. This functionality is actually quite similar to a newer feature that is starting to pop up in DaVinci Resolve itself, which listens to audio tracks and cuts to the correct person visually. These new types of tools are getting impressively fast at creating that initial usable rough cut, which is exactly what you want. You want this because you'd much rather spend your valuable time on the creative elements, not the mind-numbing grunt work. Which brings us perfectly to the topic of repurposing, turning those long videos and podcasts into vertical short-form content. I'm talking about the clips destined for TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts, which are crucial for growth today. Opus Clip and Submagic are currently the big-name players in this specific category of video automation. You simply paste in a YouTube link or upload your long video file, and they process it to auto-reframe everything to vertical. They will also automatically add polished captions and suggest relevant B-roll footage to enhance the clips. Typically, you will end up with between 15 to 20 clip suggestions from one long file, and you will find a handful that are instantly usable as is. This is awesome for creators who want to multiply their content output without having to manually scrub through hours of footage. But here is exactly where Vizard slices into the process so cleanly and offers something extra. Vizard's main specialty isn't just simple reformatting. Its power is finding the absolute best viral moments inside those long source files. Instead of just handing you 15 random clips, Vizard uses its proprietary AI to identify high-potential segments based on energy and engagement signals. It then turns those identified segments into polished, ready-to-post clips that are primed to perform well. And the workflow doesn't stop at creation because you can actually set a posting frequency within the tool. You can then have the AI auto-schedule those clips across your connected platforms, managing it all from a built-in content calendar interface. So, while Opus and Submagic are fantastic at the basic repurposing task, they often leave the critical selection and scheduling entirely up to you. Vizard bundles those selection and scheduling steps into one much smoother and more automated pipeline for total convenience. Let's look at a practical example. We took a massive 90-minute live stream recording from last month. With the old school tools, I'd export, scrub, cut, reframe, export again, upload, and then manually schedule every single post. With Vizard, it instantly pulled out the highest energy, most quotable moments from that entire stream. It then exported clean vertical clips complete with captions and lined up a posting schedule that perfectly matched our preferred content cadence. I still went in to check and tweak a few things because I am naturally a bit picky about the final output. But the sheer time savings we realized from that single 90-minute file were absolutely massive. No contest. The core difference is that Vizard is specifically tuned for creators who need to scale their distribution without having to hire a dedicated editor or spend hours inside Premiere Pro. Now, please don't misunderstand me. There are definitely trade-offs to consider in this entire ecosystem of tools. Gling is still arguably better for those extremely clean, tightly scripted talking head edits that demand perfect continuity. DaVinci Resolve remains completely unbeatable when it comes to professional color grading and that final high-end polish. Opus Clip and Submagic are solid choices if you really just want a massive amount of auto-generated variations without needing that advanced scheduling layer built in. However, if your biggest bottleneck is turning long videos into social-ready snippets and getting them out consistently, Vizard solves two big pain points at once. That powerful combination is the selection of viral optimized clips and the automated scheduling, publishing through a content calendar. That pairing really matters when you are trying to build momentum simultaneously across all of your different social platforms. Let me give you a few practical tips on how I use all these fantastic tools together in my actual workflow. Always start with diligent research and source gathering using Notebook LM so your core content is well grounded in facts. Next, script and workshop your hook and angle using ChatGPT, utilizing voice dictation if you can manage that input style. Record all your footage with the intention of repurposing by saying things that can live independently as sound bites. Then, use Gling or Resolve for cleaning up the main edit if you require that professional-grade visual polish. After that, drop the final long file into Vizard for effortless clipping and distribution across channels. You can then use Opus or Submagic as excellent backup options if you happen to need even more variations than Vizard initially provides. One incredibly important reminder for everyone: AI will accelerate your workflow, but it absolutely will not replace your own good judgment. You must always fact-check sources, add your own unique personal perspective, and use AI as a massive force multiplier, never as a crutch. For titles and SEO, you should always be experimenting because AI-generated headline suggestions are a great start, but you still need to test them yourself. Similarly, for clips, always preview the AI's top picks and feel free to tweak those captions to perfectly match each platform's unique vibe. So, If you are currently juggling too much time pressure and need to get more content out without risking burnout, this entire stack can certainly help. In summary, Notebook LM speeds up research, ChatGPT tightens scripts and hooks, Gling Resolve clean up the core footage, and Vizard turns long videos into a steady stream of scheduled shorts. If you are serious about growing across multiple platforms, you don't have to pick one tool and suffer through the limitations of the others. You should use the absolute right tool for each specific job and then let Vizard handle the heavy lift of clip selection and automated distribution for consistency. It's not perfect, but for creators who want to be everywhere with less hassle, it's truly a game changer. Anyway, that's our quick tour of the essential AI tools that can drastically change how you work. If you want to dig into any of these tools in detail, like how to structure prompts for ChatGPT or the exact workflow for exporting from Gling into DaVinci, let us know. We'll gladly make a follow-up that walks through it step by step for everyone watching. For now, focus on planning smart, scripting tighter, and automating the repetitive stuff so you can spend more time creating the parts you actually love.